There's a new Magic the Gathering mechanic called Warp in the next set, Edge of Eternities. It's kind of a mishmash of some older mechanics, so let's take a look at some of the new cards that have Warp and see how it works. Warp is an alternative cost you'll see on some cards in the set, mostly on creatures. Let's take a look at Mechanozoa as an example. It's a 6-mana 5/5 robot jellyfish that has, when this creature enters, tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. It also has a warp cost of 3. When you warp in a creature, it still enters the battlefield, but you have to exile it at the beginning of the next end step, and it doesn't have haste. You can, however, cast it from exile later on, kind of like Adventures. So the idea with these cards is that they are some combination of the mechanics Dash, Evoke, and Adventures. If you remember Evoke creatures, they all have cheaper alternative casting costs, but you have to sacrifice them immediately. Dash is the mechanic where the creature enters and has haste, but it has to go back to your hand at the end step. And like I said with Adventures, if you warp these first, you can cast them from exile later on. So expect to see some warp cards with either good enter the battlefield or leave the battlefield abilities. Here's a powerful one, Asteli Reclaimer. This is a 5-mana angel warrior that has flying, and when this creature enters, return target non-creature, non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast this creature. It's got a warp cost of 3, so you can warp it in the first time to get a 3-mana permanent back, and then do it again for 5 mana later. Pretty sweet. And for you Eldrazi fans out there, there's Anticausal Vestige, a 6-mana 7/5 with warp 4 that has, when this creature leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Then you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. This seems like fun too. So Warp looks pretty cool, but honest to God, if you say it's just kicker in the comments, I'm gonna find you and force feed you my towel. Or make you play stacks, whichever seems more painful.